Okay, we are live. I'm just going to go live on Instagram. There we go. Alrighty. Yay! Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Scaries. I'm Felicia Ann Rose Enuha, the founder and host of the Trill MBA Show, the career management podcast for Black women. And as you know, last week we launched this new series, Sunday Scaries, where you can come and get your questions answered in real time. Now, for the bad news, unfortunately, Attorney Anitra is sick today. She just could not make it. So we are going to send her lots of light and love and well wishes, and hopefully she will be recuperated and ready to join us next week so you can come and get your questions answered. But we were not canceling because we told you we're going to be here. I'm fine physically. And because of that, I decided to bring a very, very special guest at the last minute because listen, when you're sick and you just can't, it happens and it's the last minute and that happens. But the guest that I have with me tonight has been on the show before. You may remember her. The last time she was on the show, she left me in a little bit of tears, guys. Just having a realization and a transformation moment for myself. So as we're trying to navigate ourselves week by week, I wanted to bring her back. So before I bring her onto the stage, I want to level set and remind you about a couple of things that are happening in the job market today. Okay? Because right now it is not business as usual. For us people who are mid to senior career stages across industries, the ground has actually almost literally shifted from underneath us between layoffs and AI displacement, federal cuts, DEI, rollbacks, all the things, right? The rules that we have been living under that protect people are being rewritten in real time. So I don't have to tell you guys, this stuff is stressful. And if we want to talk specifically Black women, and just so you guys know, if you're not Black, you are welcome to this space. But because I am a Black woman, I'm going to talk about Black women. The Black women's unemployment rate rose from 5.7% to 7.3% in 2025. That is the equivalent to white women's rate during the worst moments of the Great Recession. Okay? Black women represent only 14% of the workforce, but accounted for over half of all women's job losses during the most volatile months of 2025. And that was 2025. We're now in 2026. There is no real relief for this insight. Most of the people that I know are either unemployed or know somebody or have a family member that is unemployed right now. Black women lost jobs at more than 3 times the rate of all other women. So we can wave all the white flags we want to. We're in crisis at this point, which is why we started this show. But here's what I want the room to understand. This is a canary in a coal mine moment. What is happening to Black women professionals right now is a preview of what's coming for everyone, everywhere. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So if you're watching tonight, you have been laid off, or you've been pushed out, or quietly squeezed out, or you feel that something's coming. I just want you to know, and I wanted to create this space so you know that this is not something that you're imagining. This is something that's actually happening to all of us, okay? And I want you to know you're not alone. So tonight, we're going to be talking about some strategies and some things of what you can do next, not just to survive, but really to work to thrive in your life. And the great thing is, my guest today wrote the literal book on how we take a break and pause and reset and level set. This is the work she does. For those of you who are new here, Katrina McGee is a day one to this podcast. Okay. Like literally first season, Katrina was on it. I can't say enough great things about Katrina. I've gotten to know her extensively over these years. We both went to business school through the same program, although we didn't go to the same business school. It's like we're business school classmates. She's the most wonderfulest people that I know as a human being. She actually cares about other human beings. And she has pivoted and dedicated her life's work to helping us at one of the most challenging times in our lives, which is trying to make pivotal career decisions. I'm happy that we have been connected all this time. And I want to tell you a little bit about Katrina before I bring her to the stage. Katrina is a certified master coach with an MBA. She is a veteran career break coach, and she is the author of Career Break for Dummies. She is the host of the Taking a Career Break podcast, and she's the founder of Break Space, a community for people who are ready to make their break happen. Last time she was on the show, she told me something that stopped me cold. She said, "It is safe to rest." And I don't know about y'all, but don't much feel safe right now. But the truth of the matter is, it is safe to rest, and you deserve to rest. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to earn it. For a room full of high-achieving women who have been taught since birth to keep going no matter what, I have to be honest with you, like, I didn't know how to take that. Like, it hit me deep. And so, guys, I want to bring up to the stage Katrina McGee. Katrina, welcome back to the Trill MBA world, but welcome to Sunday Scaries.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Yay!
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Oh, no.
I know, hold on. Okay, say something. I'm so sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I think the behind the stage and on the stage, I just wasn't prepared. It was like a volume thing. Anyway, I'm good. Hi.
Hi. It's so good to see you.
I know. Sorry for the shadows.
You're fine. You're fine. Don't even worry about it. Listen, people got to give us grace. We're running around doing things. I think you just came from a whole 4-hour, 5-hour drive.
Yes. Yeah. 5-hour drive. I was like, I'm doing this. I'm going to get here. I was like, Mom, make me a salad. Have it.
Yes.
And she did it. So I had a salad.
Mom.
I got some water and I'm here. I'm so excited for this.
Yay, Mom. Listen, the last time you were on the show, I was having a meltdown. I'm not going to have a meltdown tonight. I possibly could, but I'm trying not to. We're going to focus. So for you guys out there watching, we want you to ask us questions, because the thing that we want to talk about, and I want to talk about with Katrina tonight, is the very first thing is like in our minds, we think that, you know, I can't take a break. And that's when life is really, really good. Things are going good. And you may just be a little burnout, but you're going to work through it. And so we're used to that. But at this point in time where we have people, we're job hugging, like you get a job, child, the number of people I have told, don't quit that job. I know you want to quit that job, but don't quit that job. I am shocked that I am telling people not to quit their jobs because This job market is brutal right now. And for those people who have a job, what do you say now in this time where it feels extra detrimental to take a sabbatical, take a career break?
Yeah. How controversial am I allowed to be right now?
Oh, girl, this is still the Trill MBA platform, okay?
I
You
know,
have
right?
to keep it true.
Okay. I fully recognize this is my perspective, but
Mhm,
I am like, quit that effing job for real. So I will say this. The last 2 months of
mhm,
2026 have been the second and third highest revenue months for me in the 8 years that I've had my business. And I do not think that is a coincidence.
mhm,
Part of it, obviously, hard work builds over time. Having a podcast helps, having a book helps. But I really think that with the stress and pressures that we're all facing, if you need a break
mhm,
or if you feel like this path I'm on does not lead to fulfillment, it takes me further away from myself every day that I try to struggle on it. I think it kind of feels like, what the heck? Like almost to the point of, yes, it's scary. Yes, I don't know what's waiting for me. But also, what do I have to lose? Because I'm losing a little piece of my life every day that I stay here. I am all about intentional breaks. I'm all about thoughtful breaks. And I will say, I know the data is skewed because people that work with me are super intentional about their breaks. But I have clients, I have like 6 clients that have just given notice in the last 2 months. In break space, we have somebody giving their notice at a great job that they've been at for a fair amount of time, like every single week. I am all about it because here's the thing, the world is freaking changing. And if you're exhausted, if you are a hamster on a hamster wheel, like you are not really prepared to like go the distance without stopping to take care of yourself and also stopping to ask yourself, like, what race do I actually want to be running right now? Because
mhm.
for a lot of us, it's not the race that we're actually running in this moment.
I I'm be honest with you.
Yes.
I am in a space of fear because I have been unemployed for the past almost 3 years and been trying to look for work and have contracts here and there, hit or miss. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like I have lost everything. I didn't plan for this though. I will say, right? Like, I didn't plan for this long of unemployment.
Yeah.
I planned for like a year, 18 months, but like not 3 years. So I hear you, but I'm like, are you sure?
I know, right? Yeah, no, this is good. You're totally allowed to push back on this. This is why we're here, right? You represent a lot of people that would be hearing me say this. Um, I think the first thing is it's really important for me to like distinguish when I say a break. I mean, literally a chance to completely disconnect, right? And to pour into yourself.
Mhm,
And I know you have been on an extended, like your break has been extended, but I also know, or at least from what I understand, right? Like a lot of this break was a chance for you to pour into the work that you
mhm,
want to be doing, this podcast, right? Like things that you are passionate about. That is meaningful. But I'm also an entrepreneur, and I can tell you that pouring into my business is not the same as pouring into myself. So,
mhm,
like in fairness, it's a lot about, like, did I get fully recharged, right? Did I get to do
mhm,
things that, like, basically were just about me and not about work? And
mhm,
so I think it is hard if you're straddling both worlds because it's like you got to pour into something and you're pouring into something that you're very passionate about and working on building that, but it's not the same as being restorative, right? Like, it can be very taxing. In fact, in some ways, way more because it's like you're literally putting yourself out there. It's not even like you're just doing work for someone else. It's like, this is me, take me or
right.
leave me, right? And so I think that that is a different kind of giving. But I also, just real talk, like I have seen people because we do have people in break space, and I also have a couple of clients who have come back from job, like from a break going into the job market, and for one of our break space members is in her 50s, and I actually have a personal private client who was in her 50s and one who was in break space. They both were women in their 50s. And, like you can worry about ageism. That's a real thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
really scary period out there, but when you're in your 50s, it's like, is anyone going to take a chance on me? And one of my clients was able to find a job sort of unintentionally. Like she found the opportunity unintentionally. She was very intentional about the interview and job search process. But the other client, she did, I think she counted it like 80 networking calls over like 4 months. She did get support for it, but she ended up making a pivot and getting a job that felt like a dream job. And that was in, I think, late 2025. And
Mm.
so excited for her, right? But like she was in the government sector, like she was working as a contractor in the government sector. And so when those jobs got cut, she had just gone out on a sabbatical that then turned into a career break. And that's
Yes.
a really scary, potentially disempowering place to be when you
Yeah.
thought, I'm taking a sabbatical for a couple months and then I'm going to come back to my job. And then you realize your job doesn't really exist. And
Yeah.
now the break that you left, you're like, oh my God, why did I leave? But then also I would have been let go probably eventually anyway. And she ended up using this time to pour into herself first and then come back stronger and landed a job. So it's not that there is anything wrong with somebody that, is having trouble finding it, but I also think like it's hard if you the premise a lot of what I'm saying, like what I
Mm-hmm.
coach people on is being able to pour into yourself, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
just so freaking exhausting, whether you're
Yeah.
in entrepreneurship or you're a W-2, like it's exhausting and it's like really a lot out there, right? Like it can be
Mm-hmm.
extracting and extractive
Mm-hmm.
to be sprinting through that. So, you know, I wish I could have like a little boot camp retreat for you where I would just make you have like radical rest and radical fun and radical
Yeah.
joy. And
Yeah. I
then
still have not done that, even though you told
Mhm.
me.
Even though you told me. I know.
You
It's all right,
told me.
lady. I mean,
I just feel it is so difficult to rest when you feel like you're in survival mode. And I think what happens for
yes.
me, and I don't know if this happens for a lot of other people, but for me, my um like if you suffer with depression or anxiety, like that is what shuts me down. So it doesn't become an intentional frolic and play and
Yeah.
like curiosity and creativity and freedom of your soul. It just becomes like this survival tactic your body makes you do. And
Yeah.
you're fighting your own self because you believe I need to apply to 20 jobs a day and I need to make this video and I need to do all these things that have
Yeah.
nothing to do with anything restorative. And when you're in this mode of how am I going to pay these bills, I don't know. It just feels, yeah, that it goes back to what you said before. Like rest is mandatory. It's not something you deserve. It's something you need, but it's very hard to get your brain to understand that you need to rest so that you can be your best self. So you just end
Yes.
up thinking that you have to run on fumes. And I don't know why that is. I mean, anybody out there listening, am I the only one? I hope not. But I
No.
know we all need to change. And in a way, I hope so.
I know, right? I think that rest is radical, is a radical act in a very capitalistic and extractive world. That is not what we are taught. That is not what
No.
we are encouraged. Like self-care, who cares? I mean, literally the people that, like, really pull the strings, and I don't mean, like, your boss, right? I mean, like, the
Right.
people at the top, like,
Yeah.
we're just blobless faces. They don't care about your well-being. They don't care about your
They
rest. In
don't.
fact, literally all your worth is how much can I get from you before you just drop over and die? Because
Yeah.
whatever that is, that's what you're worth to me. And so I think it's like a radical reclamation to be a person that rests, to say, like, I actually am a being worthy of rest and I'm allowed to take rest because I effing want to, and I was given an effing life and I'm gonna go live it. And
Yeah.
so I mean, to me, I just think it's a radical, it's sad, but it's like a radical notion in the world today. But I see time and time again for people that are able to create the opportunity, right, to do that. they come back so much better if they have a good mindset about taking the rest. Because taking it with guilt, taking it with mind drama
Yeah.
is not the same thing. It's like there's a leak, and all
Yeah.
the good stuff you're pouring into yourself is leaking out of the guilt portal, you know?
Right. Right. And that's what's happening with me. I'll just be keep it real with y'all. Like at this point in time, I'm in such a precarious situation that I feel like there is like I the only thing that stops me from working 24 hours a day is I literally cannot stay awake 24 hours a day and like function. Like I have to go to sleep in order to like function. So if it wasn't for that, like if I could get away with less sleep, I would. And as I get older, actually need more sleep, it
More.
seems.
Yeah, same,
And
same.
so I'm just like, no, I need this 8 hours. And even then, my brain is still racing because there's so much to be done, and there's so much to try to get to the other side of whatever this in between is that's very
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
Speaking of being uncomfortable, when you've worked with clients who ended up getting laid off,
Hmm.
what advice do you give them? Like what do you tell them? Or
Yeah.
if they were planning their sabbatical and then layoffs are coming,
Hmm.
what do you tell those people?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. If you are laid off, but you're choosing to reclaim some of this time for yourself. So, whether you were given money to be let go or not, if you are able to say, even if it's just 1 month, although ideally it would be like three or more,
Mhm.
but if you're able to take some time and say, okay, I didn't choose this, this was unintentional and involuntary, but I'm going to claim this time. I'm going to take ownership over it and treat it as if it were an intentional break. I'm going to set a plan for it. I like to say, you're on a break. You just didn't choose your start date, but it's still your break. It doesn't matter if you chose a start date or someone else did. If you decide to make it your break, it's your break.
Yeah.
I actually have had multiple clients who
Mhm.
have started working with me to plan a break, and
Mhm.
then packages, layoffs, restructuring, whatever was announced, right? So it's kind of
Right.
like, hey, these are coming. And so a lot of times in today's world, it can be voluntary, right? Like you can volunteer to put your name out there. Volunteer is tribute. And
Right.
so they, like they're like, hey, me, and so they actually end up leaving with a package. And so the thing that they thought they were going to have to do with no financial cushion, I mean, from the company, right, becomes now I have like a 6 month padding to go out. Like, why wouldn't I? This
Mhm.
actually just happened to a client of mine 2 months ago. So like
Right.
it happens like again and again, especially I think in today's world.
Mhm.
But yeah, I am all about like, I hate for me, I'm all about freedom. That's like I think one of my highest values.
Yeah.
And to feel free on the inside in my spirit, I have to take radical ownership over my life because anytime I feel like something outside of me owns me or dictates all of the aspects of my life, I feel so disempowered and I'm not free. And I just want to freaking live this life the way I want to live this life. And so I do a lot of work, on myself to really own crap as it happens. And
Yeah.
involuntary breaks would be a great example. People do come to me, I'll just add this. People do come to me, not having hired me, but having been let go. And then like they do like the half in, half out break where they're like, I'm really burnt out, so I'm not going to immediately try to find a job, but it's hard to find a job, so I'm going to be job searching, which really makes me feel bad about myself and also makes me like convinced that the job market is crap. And so I'm really just going to be like torturing myself in slow motion, not fast motion, just slow motion. And so they'll do that for like,
Right.
6 months, 12 months. And then they come to me and they're like, can you help me re enter? And I'm like, you might want a career coach just because I'm not hip to like the latest LinkedIn, like tactics and stuff. I know some really good basics, but like if you really want that, whatever. But I'm like, I am going to help you. You're going to hire me for one session and I'm going to help you reframe this whole freaking story. And I'm going to help you reclaim this break. And one of the activities I have every single person who comes to me in that situation do is I'm like, you have to go back and write 25 benefits of your break, big and small. It could be I slept through the night. I woke up without an alarm clock, the most well rested I've ever rested since being an adult. Like, I don't care what the benefits are, but you need to give me 25. And it all comes back to reframing the story. Because if you are telling a story where I am completely a victim of this experience, it's not right or wrong. It's not about being right or wrong, but you're going to feel like crap and you're going to show up to your
Mm,
interviews and you're going to show up to the job search with an energy of like, either please pick me. I'm so like beyond desperate, right? Or
mm,
you're going to be just carrying like this heavy weight behind you, feeling like no one wants me. I've got to hide this break. Like I'm ashamed of it. And it's just such an albatross to carry. And
right.
so if you can frame it like, oh my God, I got so much out of this break. Like, I didn't even realize like all of the meaningful, amazing things I got. It level sets you back to neutral so that you can show up and be like, okay, yeah, I'm worth a job. I deserve it. I'm good.
Yeah,
Like, really in my bones, I deserve it, you know? And I think
right.
that's part of it too for people that are, like let go, maybe not by choice.
Yeah, because that question runs through your mind. Um, did you know that you can put a career break now on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Do
hmm
you recommend your clients do that?
So I have a like spectrum of thought on this, but basically for people that get contacted when they're on a break. So I've had some clients and also some break space members who don't like to put anything out there. Like they just want to keep it behind the scenes because yes, they're fully mentally behind taking a break, but they haven't quite built the confidence to shout it from the rooftops
That's
on their
fair.
LinkedIn profile. And so for them, I'm like, listen, if you're getting contacted by recruiters because maybe they do something very specialized, I was like, you need to put that out there so that people stop tempting you with jobs or possibilities, right? So that you can just enjoy being on a break. Because
Right.
also, like, people reach out to like network for jobs and stuff, right? Like, if you're there and no one
Yeah.
knows you're on a break, you're fair game. So
Right.
I will sometimes have them do that proactively. I think it's amazing if you are someone that feels comfortable on social media, like sharing your journey. I am all about like announcing your break because my philosophy is you are inviting people on the journey. When you invite someone on the journey with an element of authenticity, you are creating a space for advocates, for people who are
Hmm.
like, F yeah, Felicia, go ahead, girl, take that break. And then they get excited. And then when you disappear and you reappear, they're like, that's right, you had a break. How did that go?
Right.
Versus like everyone being like, what the hell happened to her? I don't know. She just disappeared. Like, that's right. I haven't seen her. Like I think you are taking ownership over the story when you announce the break and you put it
Hmm.
on there. I'm not saying that you have to use the feature. I'm honestly unclear on how the feature even really works because I've read like conflicting things about like if recruiters find you with that and what they see and blah blah blah. But I do think like making an announcement is great.
Hmm.
And then when you're coming back, right? If your break is 6 months or longer, I do think it's helpful to have two or three bullet points, kind of like in a sandwich, like I'm like coming back from a break, like excitement,
Right.
two or three bullet points that give context to what you did with this time. And then the bread on the bottom is like, what are you looking for? What are you asking for? Do you want coffee chats on this particular type of job? Do you want your network to just reach out to you? Like, kind of being
Mm.
specific about how people can help you or what you're looking for. I think that career break sandwich is a great one for when you're coming back. But as far as the feature goes, I'm kind of indifferent. I used to recommend people do it, but like I've also read things that said it's not helpful, like recruiters can't. I don't know. So I really don't know. But I know that like
That's fair.
announcing it and then announcing your return, super helpful.
Yeah. And what you said there was so key, right? Like you have to own your narrative. And we talk about
Mhm.
this all the time. Especially on this channel, like you have to own your own story. Do not allow other people to make up what the story is. And so if you just disappear and then you reappear, then people make up the story. And you don't want that. You want to be able to, spin in the most positive light and useful light to where you're trying to go, what you've been doing, and how you're going to um, own that time in order to come back like better and stronger. And I've seen so many great examples on LinkedIn of people who took breaks and how they talked about the break that they took was actual the amazing pivot of their career. And like you
Mhm.
said, like how many of your clients, Katrina, are now in their like dream career or dream jobs or dream industry because they took a chance and took that break.
I mean, yes. And I think there are even bridge jobs, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
job that they get after the break might not be the one, but this job is the job that leads to the one. It is a pivot, it is an improvement in some ways. And, some of my clients, the dream job is something similar to what they were doing, but with more flexibility, or in a
Mm,
company that values their well-being more than the last one, or that creates more flexibility, or has like a different sort of like level of expectation for how much they're supposed to like carry on their plate. But
mm-hmm.
but sometimes better and dream is like, I love the work I do, but how I'm doing it is not sustainable. And I want to find a way to do it sustainably. Sometimes it's becoming a contractor for work that they used to do and just being able to, make more money and then pick the
Mm-hmm.
projects that they decide to grind it out for. And then they take breaks, right? They like grind it
Right.
out for a project and then they take a break and then they get another project. And so there are lots of ways that it could be a dream. But yeah, I mean, I truly see clients landing dream jobs even when they're 50 years old, even when their break was 18 months, even when, they felt like bad about their break in the beginning because maybe it was involuntary. I mean,
Right.
the client that I had, well, both of the 50-year-old women examples, like both of them ended up in jobs that they would call dream jobs,
Mm-hmm.
but not the government sector one. The other one, you know, her dream job was using her same background, but in an industry that she was very passionate to get into that was different than the one that she was at. So, like, that
Mm-hmm.
made it her dream and it paid
Right.
her the same. So, like, she got to switch industries
Yep.
into something she was very excited to be in and make the same amount of money. And she felt really, really excited for that, you know? And so I
Right.
think, like, again, dream job is a loose interpretation, but it's like, can I end up in a situation that fits me, that sustains me, and that makes
Mm-hmm.
me feel excited about the work that I'm doing and the way that I'm doing it?
Yeah. How did you now this is just for me because I
Yeah.
tried to pivot from CPG to entertainment,
Mhm.
and it was right then the shutdown happened, and I was
Okay.
living in LA at the time, so I thought I was poised, like I just have to network. And when the shutdown, the strikes happened, um yeah, and then there was a bunch of layoffs in the industry, and like nobody would talk to me because I didn't have entertainment experience.
Yeah. I mean, that sucks. Was there a question in there for me? Sorry.
Uh, I guess what advice do you have somebody that's trying to make that pivot into a different industry
Mm,
like that, and
yeah.
they are not getting any traction?
Yeah. Well, okay. So a couple of things, right? Number one, I am all about like taking a break because you need one. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think you have to be realistic about the market that you come back into. So I think you can be planting seeds for a dream job, but you also have to know like what are your limits? I mean, if you're someone who is living at your means, right, your runway is going to be a lot shorter than someone who's sort of mastered how to live way below their means, right? And so
Right.
the time that you have to network, to get things like moving
Mm-hmm.
is going to be different, right? That
Yeah.
matters. There are like crazy things that happen in specific industries, and if you happen to unfortunately time a break where you're coming out of it at that time, you might have to do the bridge job thing, right? You might
Yeah.
have to do the like CPG, work, but like, for somebody that does like, I don't even, I'm just making this up, right? But like,
Mm-hmm.
just like getting cozy on like the brand shoots or the something where it's like, it's just kind of adjacent. Like, it's like I'm sort of like meeting people in the spaces that I ultimately want to pivot into somehow.
Right.
Either it's the company, the industry, or the role itself. Like, somehow
Mm-hmm.
I'm touching some part of what I want, even if my main role is the other thing that I used to do that I don't want to do. It's kind of like that bridge. But,
Right.
I haven't looked for a corporate job in a very long time,
Good
but
for
I
you.
feel like if I were, it would be really rough for me right now because, you know, I'm amazing at what I do, but like what I do is not corporate stuff
Right.
anymore. And so I would be leaning heavily on my network, but I'd also just be like, I'd be thinking about like, what's the one thing I could do that I wouldn't hate? Because honestly, I don't want to work in corporate. So I'd be
Right.
like, what's the one thing I could do that I don't hate? And
Right.
then how am I going to get that? I've had clients do fellowships. So they did
Mm.
like a 3-month fellowship. and they wanted to be in clean energy, make an impact. And they'd sort of been in a somewhat adjacent field, but not like the one that they wanted. And the fellowship, beyond just saying on their resume, I did this fellowship, they were actually in a cohort with other people and meeting leaders that
Uh,
would come into the fellowship. And so their network exploded, right? So people
right.
in that space. So it's like, what opportunities are there for me to end up in a space where I'm going to touch a lot of people in the space I want to be in and just kind of explode? I
Hmm.
do feel like entertainment is a little off too because it's
Mm,
who you know. Like it really is
right.
not even close
That's
to a
right.
meritocracy. It's like,
No.
I mean, as more things come out too, just like in what has been happening behind the scenes for like a long
Yeah.
time that none of us knew, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's the shadiest. It just feels in some ways like it was just a trafficking ring with like a veneer on it. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like I
No.
just so grossed out by things I read. But all that to say, I feel like there might be some industries where
Hmm.
it really is 100% connection based. And in that case, right, I might be like sucking up to a professor at a college that I went to that
Hmm.
doesn't even know me, but like is in that space. And I'm going to be like making them feel really good about themselves, being like, I want to know more about what you do. I want to know more about you. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
anybody who could touch anything. If I was looking at an industry where it really did not matter how great I was, it was truly just who do you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I will say it's interesting. I had a client who uh actually they were a break space member and a client, but they were in sort of like the TV media
Hmm.
like world, and they were struggling to get out of it because that they felt pigeonholed in it, right? And so
Hmm.
they knew a lot of people in this space, but most people in this space are not straddling other spaces. And
Yeah.
so for them, they felt limited in a way, even though, they'd won an Emmy for their work, like they felt
Yeah.
limited in a way of like getting out of it. So I think
Yeah.
in so many ways, there are lots of ways you can feel pigeonholed, but it's like,
Yeah.
no one go hold me down. Like, how am I going to find my little tiny, just give me a little tiny pinprick, like give me, and
Right.
I will just poke the crap out of that until, I find my way. But I do think that there are some industries that are just harder because it truly is 100% network.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, I met with a lot of people who were in the industry trying to get out, and they
Hmm.
wanted to get into CPG. And
Oh,
mind you,
wow.
so we would do this like language swapping because half the battle is getting somebody to understand your experience based on their vernacular in their industry.
Yeah.
So I did that a lot, and that was very helpful. But it's still, and CPG is very difficult to get into if you haven't worked for these
Yeah.
fast moving goods manufacturers or food and beverage or what have you. So yeah, I don't know why people are so close minded about transferable skills.
I
Like
know.
that's what it feels like. It's like, and now more than ever, me being in the job market, it really has. I've been working to get out of food and beverage industry. So even trying to get into other industries that like value CPG experience, now people are really like, oh, but you need to have experience with this. Like I saw a job description today. I was like, oh, I could totally do this job. And they were like, you need to have electrical background. And I was
Mm.
like, I as a marketer, like I can help you sell electronics, I can help you sell electricity, I can help you sell soda, I can help you sell chips, I can help you like the fundamentals don't change, but people
Yeah.
seem not to understand that. And I don't understand why people don't understand. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that because I have another question for you that just came to
Okay.
me.
Okay.
When it comes to people who are like married,
Mm.
how do you work with married people where one or both spouses want to take a sabbatical? Have you
Yeah. Oh my
had
gosh.
that?
Of
What does
course.
that
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah. So I've had like I think over 200 career breaks. So I've seen literally, I mean, not every, but like so many different flavors and variations.
Hmm.
Absolutely couples, absolutely. And I've seen different versions. So I've seen a version where two people go together and they actually worked at the same company in very different departments.
Hmm.
And so they like coordinated when they were giving their notice. And basically, like, because you kind of know if one's leaving to go on a break and they're married and they're at the same company, you assume. So, like, they coordinated and gave notice on the same day and basically, we're both told the same thing, which is we don't want to lose you. there's this leave of absence we could give you for 6 months.
Mm.
Would you do that instead of taking this year to do whatever? And so they actually ended up taking that, which was really fantastic. But, I helped them plan it. And for two people going at the same time, it's really just about like figuring out the finances and then figuring out the plan. And
Mm-hmm.
usually, if two people are breaking at the same time, there is, from what I've seen, like travel is a piece of that, right? Like they're doing it
Mm-hmm.
at the same time so they can go experience something together.
Yeah, go see some
But that
wild.
that like I've seen that a couple times. Another couple was doing a sabbatical together, and so in that situation, you have to think about like, because I'm all about having a purpose statement and themes for your break. That's like the
Oh.
foundation of having an intentional and well-designed break. And so for each of them, it was like I'd coached them like, I need you to have a family purpose and family themes, but then I need you as individuals to have a purpose and
Mm.
themes. Because if you're only focused on the we, you're going to come out of this feeling like you had a great family experience, but you're not going to get what you need out of it. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, the family element is important. They also had two little kids.
Oh
But
wow.
I made them like decide what they wanted to get out of it individually. And because of that, right, there was a little bit of solo time that they had in
Mm-hmm.
that break. And I think they got so much more out of it. I have had wives hire me for their husband because their husband needed a break and would not take one.
Oh wow.
That was really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite clients, like I just loved him so much. He's awesome. But his wife was like, I mean, I did a consult with both of them together, and I think he was kind of like deer in headlights. Like he was like, everything you're saying, Katrina, sounds so nice, but like I cannot leave my job. He was also like the
Right.
main income earner, and he's like, I cannot leave. My team depends on me, my family depends on me. Like I'm stuck here. And you could just see him like melting,
Right.
into the ground. And it like broke my heart. But a month later, she was like, he won't decide. So I'm hiring you. We're doing this. And I was like, all right, here we go. I don't know how this is going to go, but we're going to do it. And
This
it
is
ended up
why
being great.
men live longer
I know, because
when they're married.
I know, right? Yeah, it has only been husbands, I mean, wives that have hired me or
Mm.
pushed their husbands onto it. I did have a guy once reach out and say my wife needs a break, but then they kind of ghosted. I think she was like, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've also had it where, I had a client and she's talked about this before, so I feel fine saying it, even though I'm not gonna share her name now. But like, she really wanted a break. She hired me and her husband was not on board. He wasn't like, I'm not letting you do it. He wasn't like that, but he was like, I don't understand it. I don't see the point of it. I think it's a waste of money. And like, I'm going to expect you to continue contributing your half of the household expenses while you're on a break. And she was like, okay, if that's what I have to do the break, I'll do it. But then, right, we're doing the work. She's focused on her. Like, he starts to see a more radiant, peaceful, excited, vibrant version of his wife emerge. And months later, he's like, hey, listen, I kind of get it now. And I see what this is
Okay.
about. And I want to support you. So, like, don't worry about the household stuff. Like, you pay for your travel stuff and your whatever, but like, I got you. And he became like her biggest supporter. But it took him a while to see the vision and it took him a while to see the point. And if she had waited for him to see it, if she'd waited for him to like give her the green light,
Mm-hmm.
she'd still be waiting and she would still be doing what she was doing before, feeling like completely drained by it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen all kinds of couples taking breaks, some, with support, some kind of like anti break. But usually I would say the spouses see this diminishing version of their partner and they're like, whatever it takes to get you back is kind of
Yeah.
like I would say the most common sort of like perspective I see on it.
Girl, that story did not end how I thought you it was gonna end. I thought you were gonna say, "Oh, they're divorced now."
No, he came on
Um,
board. He came on board. I mean, I
because
never know. I don't like presuppose anything. I'm like,
right,
we're just here for the ride. I buckled
right,
up. Whatever happens, happens. I don't care what you decide. I just want to make sure you decide things that are in service of your highest and greatest good. But yeah, he came around. I mean, I didn't know that he would, but I'm like, if he loves you, like he's
yeah,
going to understand that you are taking care of yourself in a way that you
yeah.
really needed. And it just took him a couple months to get on the same page, but then he did.
Child, I can't imagine. This is why I'm not married, because I cannot imagine me saying, "Hey, I'm intentionally planning this out. I have gained a resource to help me do that." And then they'd be like, "Well, I mean, I guess you can, but I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that." And I'd be like, "So we're not going to be married." Like, what? Like,
I know. Yeah.
but again, I'm
Well,
not married. So,
I know. I actually have come to the same realization. So I'm 46 and never have been married myself. And I'm like, I think that's a piece of it is that it's not even about like being controlled by someone, but it's the fact of like, I always want to do what I feel like is in service of myself. And it's not to the detriment of others. In fact, usually it's to the benefit of others.
Hmm.
But I think there's a true element of like when you're that kind of a team, it's like if your partner decides they're sinking the ship, you're like, all right, babe, I'm going to go down to the bottom with you and then we'll put on our little mask and we'll try to swim out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, within reason, right? But like,
Right.
truly, I mean, making bad financial decisions, like, just like all kinds of things. And it's like, you're like handcuffed together. You're like, we're going to do this together. We're going to try to swim out together. And
Yeah.
my survival instinct is like, listen, you are now dead weight. You make very poor decisions and you're going to sink my ship. So I need you to like either A, get off my ship, or B, I will get off the ship. I will take the little life raft and I will go to shore where it's safe, And I'm like, Katrina, do you see yourself like not better or worse, not better or worse? But I'm like, okay, maybe this is why. Maybe this is why I've never been married. I mean, not every partnership I've been in has been like that, but I do think there's a level of like, to your point, like
Hmm.
compromise and
Yeah.
just like being part of a team, even when the decisions that you would make are completely different than the decisions your partner as a completely separate human might want to and or make in that moment. But I really do see like the majority of people that need a break are so burnt and so unhappy that their partner would much rather have the old, happier, vibrant,
Hmm.
excited version of them than like some crusty, burnt out version that just keeps making money like a money machine.
Right. Yeah. That again. I'm glad that you haven't witnessed divorce in your work. Oh wait,
I
have you?
haven't. I haven't. I have
Okay,
not.
good.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's actually interesting now that you say that. Oh, no, wait, I have. Yes, I have.
Oh,
But it was not because of the break. But
right.
actually, I did coach someone who we started planning for her sabbatical like right before it happened in a true sabbatical where she was going to come back to her same company. And we were like a month into her sabbatical and she was like, okay, so I'm getting divorced. And it was kind of like out of the blue. And so she didn't know it, but like a portion of her break was really like processing the loss and just like setting her new
Right.
reality and really focusing on herself. So I actually have like coached through someone through a divorce, but it was yeah, it was unexpected. It happened during their break, but not because of their break. And like they made it through. But it was like it was a lot to go through. But I honestly think having the space and time to really process it and to like pour into themselves and do things to light themselves up was really important part of them
Yeah.
like making it through that experience.
Oh my God. And everything happens how it's supposed to. And I try to remember that. And I know it's got to be heartbreaking cuz it's not what you were planning, but I guarantee like a year from that, 2 years from that, 3 years from that, and it might even take 5 years from that. But you'll look back and you'll be like, well, I'm glad it happened the way it happened. But it's just,
Yeah.
you never feel that way in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, things are hard, right? Like, I don't think
Yeah.
you're ever like, this really hard, crappy thing that is happening feels so amazing. Like, I wish it could happen in slow motion because that would make this even better. Like, said no one ever, right?
No one.
Um, but like, and I don't know if I believe everything happens for a reason, but I definitely like, because, like for me, it's like, I always tell people this is like a very like Debbie Downer, but it's true. It's like my brother died. That wasn't for a reason. Like, he died. That fucking sucked. And like, like I'm not like, but God was sending me a message and it's like, like it's some bigger, nope. I'm like, nope, it sucks. But what I believe that helps me get back on track is it's my job to find the silver lining. Because if I don't find
Mm-hmm.
it, no one else is going to. Like, no one's going to
Right.
come bring me a silver lining. And I
Right.
can make meaning out of it. Not that it happened to me, like in my mind, right? Like
Right.
maybe things do happen for a reason and I just don't know it. But it's not like I need it to be like that's the way it was. But it's like, okay, again, coming back to where's my power in this, it's like, okay, this is what has happened. How am I going to make my silver lining, And for
Yeah.
me, like my break was, I've talked about this before, it was a lifesaver
Mm-hmm.
because he passed away unexpectedly like a week before it started. And so for me, the silver lining was like, okay, like I had saved $40,000. I had given 8 months notice and I am standing at the precipice of a break. And like, I don't know how I would have ever gone back to a job I did not want to be at that like exhausted me
Mm-hmm.
dealing with this level of grief. And I think it saved my life. Right. So it's like,
Right.
okay, I'm going to take this as a win for my intuition that said, girl, it's time to start saving for a break. It's time to plan for a break, even though you only have $1,500 in your bank account and you're like $60,000 in debt from your MBA. Like, don't worry about it. Just start saving. You're going to take a break. It's going to be great. And I'm so grateful to that version of me that was almost delusional in what was
Right.
possible so that I could have all of the assets and resources I needed to take a break when I really needed it, even more than I knew I was ever going to need it, you know?
Yeah. And what do you say to people who think that they have to be delusional to take a sabbatical or take a career break?
Yeah. I mean, I have so many things I could say about this, but what even is delusional, right? Because it's freaking delusional to think that you can live in survival mode, pour all of your life force into a freaking job that just sucks the life out of you, and that you're going to get a happy ending, or that you're going to feel like life is worth it. Like that to me is the most delusional thing, is to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know what? Like I'm just gonna keep doing this thing I hate and stack in coins because ultimately one day, like I'm gonna find happiness and peace. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're gonna be old and your body's gonna be weird and it's not gonna do what it did. And you're gonna look back and say, man, when I had my youth, why didn't I make bolder
Mm-hmm.
decisions? Like that's what's gonna happen. But I totally get why it feels delusional to take a break. I get why it feels so beyond comprehension, which is why I'm here doing the work that I do. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, to me, if you feel like it's irresponsible to take a break, I argue that the most irresponsible thing you could do is to be given the gift of a life and then not actually live it because you
Mm.
were too afraid of what could potentially maybe happen but hasn't actually happened. And so you're like, you know what? I'm going to design this amazing life I have with this, potentially able body and this able brain and like people that care about me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to like construct something where I imagine every worst case scenario and fear. I'm going to let fear paint the
Yeah.
picture of my life. Like to me, that is so irresponsible. Like, yes, there's a future that you have to sort of somewhat plan for, but it's not guaranteed. So don't spend all of your effort trying to protect yourself against a bunch of worst case scenarios so that you can like maybe have a good future. It's like the present matters, right? Your
Yeah.
well-being matters. And you being able to actually die and feel like I knew what it was to live. That is like the worst feeling I could imagine is like to die or be on my deathbed feeling like I
Mm.
didn't even know what it was like to live. I mean, oh my God, what a freaking waste. Like, what was I even here for? What did I suffer for? If that's how I feel, like on my last days on this earth, you know what I mean?
You do this
I'm sorry, I
to
was on a
me
rant
every
there.
time. You do this every goddamn time, Katrina. Let me tell you why you're right. This past August, it was August 9th. So, a couple days before August 9th, my cousin had worked for the state of Texas for 25 years. And she was getting her retirement paperwork together. She had it together. She was going to submit it that Monday. I think that Monday was like going to be August 11th.
Mhm.
She died in her sleep
Oh my God.
the Friday night before the Monday that she was going to retire. And then she would have been retired at the end of the month, at the end of August. August 31st would have been her last day of working, and then she would have had freedom. But she died. And I think about that every day. And I get so mad at myself because I get in my own way in so many ways. And I'm not living. I'm in the survival mode. I in my head, all the things. And I know I'm not the only one because I have a bunch of friends who in whatever way are going through similar things. They're burnt out, they're tired, they're frustrated, they're trying to make life happen in different ways for themselves, and they're hitting a bunch of roadblocks, and things just aren't going the way that we thought they should go in so many different ways, and we're just merely existing. And I'm with you. When people die that you're so close to, it doesn't feel like there's some lesson, like you're just trying to find some meaning, and it all sucks.
Mhm.
And though the only thing it really makes you think about is, are you living your own life?
Yeah.
And work, work feels like the devil. And doing things that aren't aligned to like your soul and your spirit, it feels like hell. And that's just the honest truth. But so does not being able to pay your bills also feels like hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like you're in between this rock and this hard place, and you in between there, you're trying to figure out how to live life. And I'm here to say to anybody, and why I am here to try to help myself and help you, because if we just lived more aligned, happier lives, how much better would the world be?
I mean, that's the secret mission of mine, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't talk about it, not because it's a secret. Like, if somebody ever asks me about it, I'm pretty transparent, but I don't lead with that, like, in my marketing. But it's true. Like, people are living in a perceived survival mode that is not real. Like the amount of money that they might be generating is so powerful, but like because their expenses are high, because they're
Mm-hmm.
keeping up with the Joneses without even realizing it. Like sometimes you're not even like, I must keep up with the Joneses. It's more just like, well, this is what it takes to live a nice life and I work really hard, so I should have nice things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, great, but like realize what that's costing you because it's not like free. That money ain't free. It's called an exchange, and your
Right.
life force is what you give to other people and your time in exchange for that money. So be sure that you're using that money to fulfill your life, or that you're being incredibly discerning about who gets your life force, right? But it's like, it's just like, it's so, I don't know, it's just so beyond to think
Mm-hmm.
about when it's really hard. It is really hard to think about leaving, taking a break, doing all the things, right? Like it can be really hard. But I really want people to feel empowered to make decisions that serve them. And I also just want to say, by the way, I think sometimes you're hard on yourself. Like in my mind, you actually are living. I think that living, like this is, I just left a Marco Polo message for a client the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Living doesn't mean that you're up in the sky all the time and that things are freaking great. If you're going to die and feel like you were really alive and you knew what life was, you've lost someone you loved. Because if you're going to experience the high of really loving someone, like with your whole self and your whole being, like you're also going to experience the loss of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you like in so many ways, it's like you're going to experience the high highs and the low lows. Like that is what living is. So I don't think that feeling frustrated or feeling sad is a reflection of you not living. And I would say, like, you have this whole outlet and this whole podcast that you have dedicated years of your life to, and a mission to help people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
especially people that you relate to. Like, you have done so much to help. And so, like, you are living. I mean, are you living as courageously as you want to? I don't know. But, like,
No.
there's always space to grow. There's always space to go up. But, like, I also think sometimes what makes it hard is when you are not you specifically, but us, right? Like, when
Mm-hmm.
we're unnecessarily hard on ourselves, it can
Yeah.
feel like nothing is enough. So, if you're carrying the burden of feeling crappy and like you're not doing enough, and then your results currently aren't what you want, I think it just makes it harder to show up for your life. But I just want to be clear, like really living is going to come with highs and lows. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was just telling my niece, so we went to visit her last college today. She was at her last admitted student weekend. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like trying to impart some wisdom. And I was like, listen, girl, any decision you make is going to be a big decision. But please don't think there is a right decision or a perfect decision, because
No.
you don't control the factors that happen once you say yes. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can ask all the right questions and you can still end
Mm-hmm.
up in a situation that you wish you hadn't been in. And I was like, I just want you to know I had the worst summer of my life on my MBA internship. And I was like, I cried every day in my car at 4:30 or 5 o'clock when I would drive home. I had the worst freaking manager of my life. Hated her. Right? Like my brother, my favorite human, was going through some very serious health things. My ex-boyfriend, who was a psycho, was like dating someone and posting pictures about it and whatever, and also kind of tormenting me. Anyway, I would literally cry all the freaking time.
Right.
And I was like, that was one of the lowest points of my life. Like not the lowest, but like if we're plotting data points, like it's
Right.
pretty freaking low. And I was like, and then the market sucked. And I came back without an
Yeah.
offer from that internship because I got duped in so many ways. It was the worst
Mm-hmm.
decision. I'd given up like a marketing internship with Diageo for this crap to like go work at this other company. And I was like, man, did I make a terrible decision? But it was because they didn't fulfill any of the things that they had said that they would do. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just different. And I was like, but look at me now. Like, I'm okay. I am more than okay. And it's not because of them. I'm not giving them credit for that. I'm giving myself credit for that. But I'm just like, I think we can bounce back from bad things if we don't stop because sometimes literally the bad things can be protracted. They can go on for too long. They can be really
Mm-hmm.
freaking low. But I think like as long as you just wake up the next day and like decide to just be, some days that's all you can do is be, right? Like
Yeah.
you can get back to a place where things are good and where you find your power and you are able
Mm-hmm.
to like create more of what you want. And so I just like want I just am saying I'm going on this tangent, but I just want you to know I really do think of you as someone who's living. I think of you as someone who lives and also like is transparent in your struggle. But I really do feel like um I don't know if I can say this, but I'm just going to say
Yeah.
it. Part of what makes this whole job search hard is that your spirit does not want a job. So like it's kind of like if you're trying to get married, but you actually hate men and don't want to get married. Like you might find someone, but like it's going to be really hard. And unconsciously, consciously, like some of the men that you meet are also going to be like, I think this bitch hates me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not you, not, I'm not saying you, right? But I'm saying like, if
Listen.
believe me. But like, do you know what I'm saying? But they're gonna be like, God, this woman kind of like, I think she kind of hates me. Like she's saying all the right things. I think she kind of hates me. And so anyway, all that to say, like, that doesn't mean that there's not a place where you could find that you're like, this is fine. This is good enough. It provides the income I need to like, continue investing in other things. Like, I'm not saying that at all. But
Yeah.
I do think that for some of us, if our spirit is not in alignment, it's like a natural magnet repellent. It's almost like instead of a magnet, it's like a repellent, because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't know. Like, I apologize if that went way
No,
off the rails.
no, no. Listen, you should never apologize for telling the truth. And I know we're in a world where people want you to apologize for telling the truth. Um, I'll give you another example quickly. And I know we're
Okay.
running out of time and we need to wrap up, but I have to share this with you. I was talking to a friend of mine and I was being very self critical. And she goes, I'm sorry if I'm talking out of turn, but that's your mother's voice. And I was
Mm.
like, ah! And she was like, please don't be mad at me. I was like, I will never be mad at you for telling me the truth. Like, that was dead on. It was dead on. And
Yeah.
using the word dead and talking about my mom at the same time. Anyway, like, but it was spot on. And I appreciate the truth tellers. And I'm probably one of the few people. And it's because I am a truth teller. And
Yeah.
the messengers get shot. And I feel the burden of that all the time. But I will always make space for the truth. And I will never get mad if somebody tells me the truth. And
Okay. Well, I also just love to like hug people energetically, and that did not feel like a hug. So I have to like hug now and say, just to clarify, right? I really do think that if you wanted a job, you could find a job that, like, was fine. But I think it makes it harder for you. Not that you're not willing to do hard things, but I just think, like, there's some part of your spirit that I feel like is secretly working against you in the sense of it's asking the universe for your podcast to work, for your, like, talents to come out in a different way, and it's like, "Please let this work," you know? Like, I feel like there's stuff you wanna give to the world that
mm-hmm.
is not what you're giving in that, like, corporate
Yeah,
job, but,
no,
like, the realities of the income, right? And so,
yeah,
like, not that you can't do it. I just think it makes it harder. Like, and I say that as someone I've sometimes jokingly called myself like unemployable, but I really don't know how, and maybe I'm projecting. Maybe like none of this is true. It's just me talking about myself. But like
mm-hmm.
if I were in a position where I was ready to go back to corporate, it would be really difficult because my spirit does not want that. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to work for somebody else's mission. Um, Especially
Mhm.
like a big company, like I just don't want to. And
Right.
that doesn't mean I can't find a job where I'm like, okay, this paycheck works. And like if my mom was sick and I needed like steady, predictable income, or if I had health stuff and I was like, I need steady, predictable health insurance, like
Mhm.
I'm not above it, but like that is going to be my why because it has to be a really big why to get me
Yeah.
back into like, being a W-2, right? To
Right.
having a job working for someone else. And I just so believe in what you're doing. I think that's the point is like, I so believe in what you're doing and it's so special and you're still here. Like
Yeah.
so many episodes in, like it's beyond, right? Like you're in the top what percent? Like what percent of podcasts make it the number of years and the number of episodes that you've been? Do
Oh,
you even
very few. Very, very few. Very, very few. Like 2, 3% maybe.
Yeah. So
Um.
you're in like the top 2% of podcasts in the world as far as like longevity goes. And you
Yeah.
don't do that without impact. And it's like what I want for you is for you to be able to start generating the financial like kickback from the work that you do in this world so that
Mhm.
you can just do more of it. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that like you can do I believe in you, you know that. I believe that
Yeah.
you've got what it takes. And I also think like sometimes battles feel a lot harder if our whole self isn't aligned to the battle that we're facing.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know, like I'm projecting a lot of things and
No,
really
you're
I'm just
not.
talking
You're
about
not.
myself.
You're
I'm
you're
talking about myself.
mirroring. You're not projecting. You're mirroring. Let me validate that. You're mirroring, and you're not wrong. I constantly go through this battle of what I should be doing, and um, I in my mind I want to do it, the right way or the safe way, or I don't want people to judge me and all these things. There's a lot of words that swirl in my head and thoughts
Mhm.
that swirl that are not helpful and not honest, because the honest truth is, if I could quickly make this work to pay my bills, then I would be out. Like, you couldn't pay me to go back to a company. Um, but the reality is, I need a job because I have bills, and
Yeah.
so it's in a conflict. It's a complete conflict, and that's just the honest truth. And if
Yeah.
any employer sees this and blackballs me, and so be it. But yeah, I've gone through various, like, you can look at my LinkedIn. I've gone through various stages of how much do I tell about the podcast, because it becomes a barrier, because then
Yeah.
people see, like, you don't really want to be here. You want to go do that. And they call me
Yeah.
out on it. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't make you money right now. Like, I don't know when that's going to work. I mean, even when I was let go from my last job, one of the things they told my attorney was, well, she has a podcast and like she started doing stand up comedy. And I was like, what does that have to do with I need a
Yeah.
job? Like, what does that
Yeah.
have to do with it? We just thought she'd be happier.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, right? Because I think like everybody knows most people in corporate are beyond burnt out. And in today's world, it's like a lot of people I think feel misaligned with like the way that they're working or the work that they're doing or the industry
Mm-hmm.
that there's some element that just no longer fits, right? Like I think most of us know that, but
Yeah.
it's like we still in corporate like have to put on the camouflage and we have to pretend, no, I'm
Yeah.
here for like, do you want my 5-year plan? Do you want my 10-year plan? Great, I'll give it to you. I freaking love it. I drink the Kool-Aid at home when I'm just like chilling. I'm taking your Kool-Aid, I'm drinking it. And I think it's like sad but like true. I think
Yeah.
there's still a large element of let's pretend.
Yeah.
But I think that is being more disrupted by like the fact that it's clear companies don't really care about their employees in general. I can't speak for every company, but most, right? They don't care. And AI is really disruptive and
Mm-hmm.
there's just so much disruption coming to it. I feel like the veil is sort of like cracking, crumbling, being
Yeah.
dropped in a way and like maybe slow motion. But it's a whole different landscape out there. And I think circling back to where we sort of started this, right? It's like, yeah, the job market is so weird. But I
Mm-hmm.
also do see some people getting jobs, but like that's all the more reason where if you can afford a rest, if you can afford to like inspire yourself, pour into yourself, find some joy, like something completely separate of work, I think you
Mm-hmm.
bring back a version of yourself that's ready to go back into the rat race if you choose to. Some people don't want to come back and they don't come back, but they do something different. But like,
Listen.
I think there is never anything wrong with stopping to pour into yourself, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you feel depleted. And I know that not everyone can do it immediately, but sometimes people can do it and they just struggle to give themselves permission.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell themselves it's a money thing. They tell themselves, I've sacrificed too much to get here to do it. But the truth is, someone who makes less money than them, who has sacrificed just as much, has taken a break. Like, I mean, y'all, I know I know that my story is different, but I had $1,500 in my bank account and like 50 something thousand dollars worth of MBA student loans when I was like, I need a break. So I'm
Yeah.
going to take one. And I did. 2 years later, it took me a long time. I saved, I scrimped, I did all the things, but I did it. And so I say this not as someone that, was ever part of like this dual income and I just saved
Right.
money and my partner worked. Well, I mean, no, I did it all by myself and I did it with debt and I did it, with like very little
Mm-hmm.
savings, and a very, like I had the nice apartment and I had all the things, right? And I had to downgrade. Not that I lived somewhere scary or bad, but it was like I got a roommate and
Yeah.
that I got to live in a nice apartment, but I paid a lot less for it,
Mm-hmm.
at 30 something years old. But I just want people to believe that there's a version of it that's possible for them because we all need it. We all need a freaking break.
Yeah. Well, before we go, we did Cheryl Mitchell 37 said, I love you both. I'm actually taking a career break this year and have been devouring all of Katrina's content.
Yeah,
So,
I think she posted on one of my YouTube videos too, which is fun. Maybe two of them. So anyway, I
yeah.
love this so much. Like,
Yes. So,
yes,
before we get out of here, speaking of which, first of all, congratulations on your podcast.
thank you.
I don't know why I feel like I have been out the loop. Because when you launched it, you should have came on here and told us about it,
Aw.
ma'am.
Oh, I know, right? I'm so proud of it though. Like,
Yes,
Tiny but mighty. I mean, we're
it's
like over
great.
60 episodes now and 18 months. And I've
Yes,
literally had people write me and say, uh, I heard your podcast and that made me realize I need a break. And then like 6 months later, listening to the podcast and making moves, like they're on a break. Like it literally has had influenced people to leave their jobs and take a break. And I'm like, that is how I know it's a success if it really
yes,
makes a difference in someone's life.
yes, and it's only up from here. So, and just keep being consistent. Just keep going, and people need you, and you're amazing, and you have this light and this knowledge that we need in the world. So, please, 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 please let the people know how to get in touch with you.
Yeah. Well, if you want to get in touch with me, you can just find me on LinkedIn. Or you can join me in Breakspace, which
Mhm.
I love. Go breakspace.com. But I think like the easiest way to kind of be in my world is to start listening to Taking a Career Break with Katrina McGee, the podcast. Because
Mhm.
I show up there every week with my
Yes.
co-host James. We are very consistent. I'm very proud of myself for showing up consistently for
Mhm.
something marketing related, because that can sometimes be like a whole minefield in and of itself. But we
Mhm.
continue to do our weekly episodes. And this summer, we're doing something really special. I'm inviting like 8 to 10 of my past clients on to tell their stories. And I
Yes.
am like, yes. And I'm so happy because like I know their stuff, right? I'm like, when I'm inviting them, I'm like, listen, and this is the thing I really want. Because like I watched it unfold, right? I think
Mhm.
sometimes in hindsight, people are like, yeah, I did this. And they can remember parts, but they don't
Right.
remember like the nitty gritty. But I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
I remember the nitty gritty because I was there.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to kind of like inspire people with other people's stories too.
I love that. I'm so excited for that. And then also, where do we buy career break, taking a career break for dummies?
This thing, this
Yes.
whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah, you can find it on the company I don't like supporting, which is Amazon. But you can also find it at the library if you don't want to
Okay.
buy it. And if you do
Yeah.
want to support me and you do want to buy it, you can find it like pretty much any bookstore. I mean, I did it with
Okay.
a major publisher, so you can find it like Barnes and Noble. I mean, there's
Awesome.
just so many. There's so many like independent
Yes.
bookstores too that have it. I think even like Powell's books. So anyway, you can find
Yes.
it. You can find it many places.
Go to your independent bookstore, support your independent
Yeah,
neighborhood
that's right.
bookstores, and find Taking Career Break for Dummies. Katrina McGee, listen, God has a blessing on your soul. Okay. And I don't want you to ever forget that. I don't care the ups and downs of life. Yes. But you're doing the Lord's work, whether you want to call it that or not. And I appreciate you for that. So keep going. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so excited
Um,
to call you a friend.
yes, thank
Um,
you.
so thank you so much. I am going to just hang tight for me,
Okay.
and I'm gonna close out the show. All right, guys, that was Katrina McGee. I am so happy that you guys came and supported this Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday. Let's all send up prayers and good energy to Attorney Anitra, and that she's feeling better next week. If you want to come and have your questions answered, with Anitra, or in case she can't make it, I will have another guest expert. But if you ever want to come on and ask questions, please fill out the form and the link so that we can get you registered and come sit in the hot seat. Like it's really a cool seat. I don't want to call it a hot seat. It's not hot. It's cool. We're here to help you. We're doing this live every Sunday so that you can reset and get your work week together, learn something, and feel empowered to go into your week with some new knowledge and some tips, tricks, tactics, and things to think about to manage your career. You have the power. I know it may not feel like it. I know the world feels like it's burning down and going crazy, but you do still have control over your story, control over your decisions that you make for yourself and your life. So I want you to feel empowered this week. And if you have any questions, reach out to me, ask at trillionba.com. Or if you want to schedule any time with me, go to trillionba.com and click consulting. I'm happy to work with you. If you have a PIP or any work situation that I can help you with, I'm happy to consult. So with that said, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Bye.